So what gets discussed when you're tasked with shaping the path to self-driving cars on British roads? Experts have gathered at the Goodwood Motor Circuit in West Sussex with their list of priorities. Imogen Pearce from the electric and autonomous car makers' Arrival sees progress as what's here already, not what's still to come.
So there are different levels of autonomy, starting from level 0, which is absolutely completely manually driven, no robotic components at all, up to level 5, which is complete autonomy and no need for a driver in the vehicle. Today we're sort of around level, I like to call it sort of level 2.7, I don't think that exists, but I think that's where we are, which is about sort of lane keep assist, keeping certain distances between yourself and the driver in front, adaptive cruise control, etc. And that is a really significant step on the road to autonomy and hugely useful to make it normal and to allow consumers to get completely used to those sorts of features so that when full autonomy does come, it's not this massive step change and shock overnight.
Despite technology filling up our cars now, a recent survey of American drivers says 71% don't think driverless cars will be safe. British experts understand that safety is paramount. And that's according to Ian Forbes of the government body CCAV, otherwise known as the Centre for Connected Autonomous Vehicles.
The technology that we're working on is really exciting, but if it's not safe, the government is not going to be content for it to be used on the roads, which is why it's really important that we have gatherings like this where we speak to the leading lights from industry and academia to have a proper discussion about how to make sure that we're taking safety seriously.
There are thousands, if not millions, of different use cases and scenarios that an autonomous vehicle needs to be put through in order to have that public confidence that it will operate as safely as you would want it to be able to get into it as a passenger.
Imogen Pearce's company Arrival, working in the OmniCav project, are merging self-driving technology with the vagaries of human driving behaviour, but in the confines and safety of a computer simulation program. And that includes highly accurate 3D and HD mapping data, also known as the digital twin.
So building that digital twin is immensely important because you can stress test all of those scenarios and actually introduce something called edge cases, which are those completely unusual scenarios which some engineers might describe as fridge from the bridge. How will an autonomous car react if a fridge was thrown from a bridge? So testing in this virtual world should give consumers that confidence that this has been completely verified and is a completely safe technology.
Hello, I'm Daniel Ruiz. I am the Chief Executive of Zenzik.
Teamwork is crucial for everything, says Zenzik's Daniel Ruiz.
Zenzik is at the heart of what we're calling the ecosystem around connected and autonomous mobility. Our job is to try and bring as many organisations close together so that they can work more and more effectively together. With safety comes security, so that's number one. Number two is productivity, and that's about people being more productive in their own lives, but also greater manufacturing capability for and in the UK. The third one is about inclusion, which means bringing people in who are currently not as mobile as they could be, or enabling the movement of goods. But safety is top of that list.
Safety has another element to it: security. The data which will be generated is massive. But whose data is it? We'll hear again from Daniel Ruiz and CCAV's Ian Forbes in a moment. First, though, Simon Navin from Ordnance Survey.
These vehicles and these systems and the infrastructure that supports them, they're going to have to start sharing data in order to optimise those systems. And securing that data is going to be so important. Not only will we have location data about people, we'll also have information about their habits, their behaviours, how their cars are operating, how the systems and the infrastructure around them are operating. So the security of that data is essential.
So vehicles in the future are going to create huge amounts of data, and that could bring with it massive benefits. So it could help us create services which are more aligned to what people want. It could help us assign culpability more accurately if there's an accident. But there are real questions to answer about who owns that data, who gets to access it, who gets to use it. And in government, we're really keen to speak to the people at the forefront of this sector to figure out a framework to enable that to work properly.
And connectivity is about data, movement of data. That requires security and safety in terms of that transfer and that kind of communication of data. But data has to be unlocked, the potential of data has to be unlocked, because ultimately we're trying to create services for the nation, for the people and the goods to be moved, services that will enable people to make better decisions, enable businesses to work more efficiently.
So what does connectivity mean, and what does it do? Here's Simon.
Well, it's often said that future mobility and connectivity are inextricably linked. So we look at things like 5G and full fibre and how we're going to start to send more data around more quickly. Things like latency, the time it takes for data to be sent between vehicles or between infrastructure, that's going to be really important. And we're also talking about lots more data being sent around as well, whether it's video, whether it's high definition mapping, whether it's information about position. That needs to be sent around really, really quickly if we're going to optimise some of these systems and, more importantly, run them as safe as possible.
Which, for Imogen, means we'll physically see things changing on our roads regularly.
It's difficult to say how far in the future autonomous vehicles will be. I think we'll see various use cases in some situations over others. For example, we're already seeing delivery bots in some areas. I think we'll also see autonomy in geo-fenced areas, so for example some stretches of motorway. So I think those kind of contained environments will see autonomy first before your car that you have in your driveway or parked outside your house is your autonomous vehicle.
The last word then to Simon Navin at OS, speaking for all those represented at Goodwood.
We're absolutely a world leader at the moment. I think that we are open for testing in the UK. It's probably the easiest place to come and test self-driving systems. It's a great place to innovate, and I think we are going to be able to do that at scale as well, and going to continue the UK's tradition of history of manufacturing in automotive and being an innovator in that space.
If you're interested in finding out more, please read Zenzik's Geodata report with its recommendations for self-driving vehicle testing, published in conjunction with OS.
You have reached your destination.
You've been listening to a podcast on Everything Happens Somewhere at os.uk/happens.